Okay, we're going to get started on this webinar, and I know that this is a new, obviously a new way of doing things, and I hope that everybody can hear me okay. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to check that with the people listening, but I do hope everybody can hear clearly and see the presentation. We have been using this program a little bit at school, as I know a lot of people have, so hopefully it works well for us. The thing tonight is that I will try to cover all this, and obviously this is a requirement as you sign up your son or daughter to play athletics at Mascoutah, that you've attended this meeting. If for some reason something happens with the video or we have any issues at all, this video is being recorded and will be posted to for your viewing sometime very soon, probably in the next day or two. So I just want everybody to be aware that technical difficulties could happen. This is the first time we've done something like this. Not to panic. We will make sure that you get the information. Also, there's no option to communicate two ways with me on this. If there are any questions, feel free to call the office at any time. You can email myself or Sue Sachs in the athletic office, and I'll have my contact information on here in a little bit. Without wasting any more of your time, I'd like to get started and welcome you to the 2020-21 athletic parent meeting, and what a crazy fall it's been. I do appreciate everybody that's kind of hung in there with us. I can tell you the IHSA format and everything that has to do with fall sports all the way through spring has been a roller coaster ride. It seemingly changes every day. So I truly apologize for maybe not having all of the information that you hoped for in a timely manner. But the truth is, the information we get changes almost daily. And I'm not a guy that likes to put out information until I actually know what's going to happen. So hang in there with us. We're doing the best we can. And hopefully this meeting serves a purpose. And hopefully it's the start of another successful athletic and season and school year here at Mascoutah High School. The first thing I want to start by talking about is our booster club. Our athletic booster club at the high school is an incredible organization. It has a good number of people involved, which we truly appreciate. But what they do for our athletic program and our school in general really is priceless. It's a lot of selfless people that give hours and hours on end for no pay, obviously. And it all benefits our students. Their mission, obviously, is to just provide a platform to help us with things that maybe we can't purchase out of our budget or extra items that programs need. They are some of our biggest fans. They're some of our biggest supporters. And obviously, without that program, our athletic programs can't be as successful. Why am I telling you this? Well, I don't think that people understand how involved they are with our school. This is just a list of all of the programs that have benefited from them in the recent past. As you can see, all of our teams, obviously, as an athletic booster club, they're more than willing to give us everything that we ask if it's within reason. But they also offer support to clubs. As you can see, a list of clubs there. And they've even reached out to the community to offer some things on that end to be able to kind of, bring us together and kind of unify us as far as a district and a community and all those things. On average, they're giving $20,000 plus dollars to our programs. And I think that comes in different forms. It comes in forms of scholarships. It comes in the form of equipment. It comes in the form of support on special events and all kinds of things throughout the year. The thing is, our booster club, while they are committed and while they are an amazing group of people, it's been the same group of people doing it for a long time as far as the leadership roles. My ask tonight is that if you could spare some time or spare at least an opportunity to talk to some of our representation about what the booster club does and what they provide to our student athletes. I've listed the contact information on here. Please feel free to reach out to them and offer some help. I know many people are actual members of the booster club. And my appeal tonight is not necessarily to gain just members to the booster club. We're really looking for foundational help here. We want people to be able to move this club forward. We want people to be able to take this club over in the next couple of years from the group that's done it for so many. So I just ask that if it's something that you have in time and it's something that maybe you are looking for a reason to get involved, please consider joining them and seeing how you can help and get behind truly an organization that is the backbone, as you can see their theme, the team behind the teams. And that's truly what they are. So we appreciate them. If you want more information, you can reach out to them directly. You can reach out to me. Sue Sachs, our athletic secretary, is heavily involved in the Booster Club as well. So there's lots of contacts on that end. I do want to touch a little bit on the athletic seasons as they stand right now. There's been a lot of questions and a lot of confusion, obviously, and rightfully so, with the way things have gone in our state and the way things have gone from our athletic association in our state. Limitations seem to be changing daily. They just changed again yesterday. And we are trying to stay on top of it the best we can. Amongst scheduling challenges, which we have every day out of our office, we have general guidelines that we need to follow as far as schools are concerned. And so we're trying to do the best we can to link those things together and provide an atmosphere and a platform for our kids to do what they love to do. Look, I know that a lot of the rules and things that are in place aren't necessarily agreed upon by everyone. I'm not telling you that we should do one thing or another. What we're trying to do as an athletic department is provide an atmosphere and provide an environment and provide rules so that our sports don't get canceled. So I know we're going to limit fans, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, and we're going to limit seasons, and there's a lot of things that we've put in place with our student athletes and our coaches, which are not comfortable. And frankly, they're not fun when sports are supposed to be fun. We understand the concern. By the same token, we want to provide our kids these opportunities. So we're asking that you please join us in following the guidelines that we set forth and allowing us to continue to move forward in a successful fall season all the way through the spring. Going through the seasons, the traditional fall season has been altered. As many of you know, they've taken some sports out and they've kept some in place. Right now, we've already started cross country, girls tennis, boys golf, and girls golf. They're well underway. And then our other traditional fall sports, football, boys soccer, volleyball, cheer, and dance, have been moved to in between what's our traditional winter season and our traditional spring. So the amended fall season now moves to mid-February through May. And as you can see, our winter season, pretty much the same as it's been. We did have to amend the end of that schedule a little bit, and the beginning has a few changes. But that said, the winter season is your typical winter season going through the winter months. Then we'll be followed by a fall season. Yes, they'll overlap a little bit as far as preparation. We will take care of all those things, and we'll make sure that kids that want to play multiple sports still have the ability to do so. This is no different. Lots of our sports do overlap. Not a huge change there. And then our spring season will start a little bit later. And I feel terrible. I know that some of our spring coaches and families and athletes are upset. I understand that. I understand the concerns. Again, this is ever changing. Yes, it doesn't start till May right now. I know that myself, along with athletic directors around the area, a lot of athletic directors in our conference, have really hammered the IHSA on what we'd like to see in the spring. The IHSA is in the same boat we are. It's always changing. Their rules and regulations are always changing. What can they do to at least provide every single athletic activity to every athlete that wants to play? And I think that they've done a pretty good job of giving us the opportunity to do that. Now on my end as an athletic director and my fellow colleagues that are across the state, we want to make sure that it's as fair as it can be. So we'll continue to fight, make sure kids are getting as many games as we can and opportunities as they can. This is what it is right now. It may change a little bit, but our goal is that all of our athletes can compete in all of their sports. That's what our goal is. That's what we'll fight for. That's what we'll provide opportunities for at this time. I do want you to be aware of a couple key components to this. Contact days, which are generally the summer, how we treat the summer events with contact days, organized activities in the summer. There now is going to be a contact day window from September the 7th through October 31st. Sports that are not currently in session, in other words, everything except for cross country, girls tennis, boys golf, girls golf, those sports will be able to have some sort of organized activity, 20 opportunities, as a matter of fact, between September 7th and October 31st. Our coaches are already formulating plans, getting organized for those opportunities. Again, we'll do the best we can. All postseason activities at this point, even for the fall, are to be determined. The IHSA is still trying to balance restrictions on fan participation, how many people can be in venues, all the things that go along with that. So bear with us. That's where it stands right now. This is when the seasons will take place. We will continue to keep you informed, certainly the students through our Google Classroom platforms and all of the things that we do to try to get information out to parents. I'll do the best I can from my office. I know we'll use our websites as much as we can. Social media is going to be huge through this with information, so we got to make sure that if you're keen on following us, that Twitter really is the most up to the minute best way to do that. As far as our fan policy, this is the fan policy that we have adopted for this fall. Now, this is only for the fall. This does not have anything to do with the winter. Those things have not really been as regulated yet as what we're allowed to do in the fall, and this is what we will do. This is how we'll roll here as we start this week. We're not requiring any formal check-in because we do not have the means to trace here at the high school and in the district. We're not doing any health screens, but we ask that you do not attend an event, obviously, if you're exhibiting any of those symptoms, the common symptoms that you've read about with COVID-19. We expect masks to be worn at all times. That includes outdoors. It's not worth the risk. I know they're not comfortable. I understand that. It's not worth the risk to our athletes or fellow fans. Masks are to be worn at all times when attending our events. We ask you to please practice social distancing, the 6 feet. You can sit with family members that live together, but those groups must be socially distanced from other groups. We're also requesting that you help ensure all other student and adult safety around you. We're asked to limit the number of participants from your contingent to those of your immediate family only. I know that's a struggle. I know that there's grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles that want to come. Right now, we just unfortunately cannot house that. In fact, some schools have banned fans altogether. A lot of schools have. We're trying to keep that window open, but I will be honest with you. Should some problems arise, our fan participation will be the first thing to go, unfortunately, and that's not a threat at all. That's just reality. We ask that all fans leave immediately following the contest, and no fans at all are permitted to congregate with coaches, athletes, or other fans until your athlete is back with you in your vehicle, back to the house, whatever. We sincerely appreciate your cooperation. We just need to ensure that everybody can be safe at this time. This is the best way that we feel like we can do that. Let's talk about our code of conduct, and I'll try to buzz through this. Those that have been involved in our athletic program over the past couple years, 2 years, not a whole lot has changed. There's a few things that may sound a little new, but we expect our athletes, our student athletes, to be good citizens. We live in a great community. We want our athletic program to be a representative of the best that this community can be, and we'll talk more about that later. But if you don't want to carry yourself in a manner that we expect you to, you won't be a member of our athletic program. It's just that simple. Participation is absolutely a privilege and not a right. Because you step foot on campus does not give you the right to be a student athlete here or participate in any other activity for that matter. You have a right to a free education. You don't have a right to play sports if you're not going to follow our rules or, at least kind of fall in line with what we expect to be representative of our school and our community. It does require accepting additional conditions, which you'll sign off. One is you'll sign off that you listen to this presentation. All of our rules carry with our student athletes on and off campus throughout the calendar year. Weekends, summers, holiday breaks, off seasons, we expect you to follow our rules. If you choose not to, there will be consequences immediately, and we will follow through with those. We've done so in the past. We deal with code of conduct every year. Please read it. It is on our website in our handbook, which is linked to our website, which is at www.msd19athletics.com. It's all on there under links and forms. An entire handbook is there. Our code of conduct is in there. When you sign that electronically, that means that your student athlete and the parents are prepared to meet and accept our provisions. Pretty straightforward. We obviously want to answer any questions, but it's all there for your viewing on our website. You need to register. The last line there in the last slide, I'll go back one, was registering for sports. You need to register. Right now, only fall sports are open, but you need to be registered so that your kid can participate in the competitions or the contests. It's all at the website under links and forms. Once again, that'll take you right to our registration website. Eligibility. Academic eligibility has remained the same. You still will need to pass 25 hours a week. We understand that we're in remote learning right now. That still means you still need to pass your classes. So if we have students that are not participating or keeping up with remote learning, they will not be eligible to play athletics or activities or participate in activities at the high school. You have to pass 5. This does not, the one rule that was amended was that if you were not passing any in the spring, 5 classes in the spring, traditionally you would not be eligible for the fall. That rule no longer applies due to the COVID-19 stuff and all of the extra things that student athletes and kids were expected to do. So everybody's eligible to start the season, but you must pass 5 classes a week to stay eligible. Students are allowed to make up 1 class during summer school. This wouldn't take place obviously till next summer, but just giving you the heads up, should someone fail too many classes in the spring, you can make 1 up in the summer, but only 1. Attendance, again, you must be in attendance for 3 hours to participate in activities that day. This still holds true with remote learning. We expect you to be logged in, attentive, and participating in 3 hours just to be eligible that day. There's still going to be absences due to sickness and all those things. We understand that, but we still need to follow our policy as far as being in class and participating. There's a few obvious exceptions, death in the family, school field trips, and anything that's approved prior, we can make some exceptions. But for the most part, we expect kids to be in school, whether we're remote or in person. And, we hope to get back to in person at some point. We just don't know right now where that road leads, so we'll adjust accordingly. When it comes to injuries, we ask that student athletes and parents please report all injuries to our athletic trainer and our coaching staff. Now, lots of times these injuries happen at practice or games. We're aware of them. We're the ones that even call you and let you know that your son or daughter is injured. What we're asking is that something happens away from school or something happened in practice that we weren't aware. And sometimes things happen at practice that don't necessarily, I don't want to say necessarily hurt, but the effects are not felt for quite some time. Overnight, they're not feeling well, or something happened in practice where they thought they were bruised and it seems to be more serious. We ask that you let us know immediately so we can start a treatment with our training staff or our team doctors and those things. If the injury needs medical care and a medical excuse is given to prevent practice or game participation, a written release from a doctor will be needed before the athlete can resume participation. What that means is if your son or daughter gets hurt at practice, we don't know anything about it. They go home, you take them to the doctor says, they're out for 2 weeks or whatever. It doesn't matter if the doctor says they can come back tomorrow. When we find out that you've been to the doctor, we need a note from that doctor reinstating you to our program. It's that simple. Once you see a medical professional, it's on their timeline. So we just want you to be careful. We do not want you to overlook injuries, but at the same time, our training staff sometimes can point you in the right direction to get you to a place that has your son or daughter's best interests in mind, instead of somebody that just wants to keep them out because they don't want to bear the responsibility. And I don't necessarily blame people that are doctors that do that, but we have sports doctors that are very close to our program. We have local doctors in Mascoutah that have our best interests in mind, and we really trust their opinion. So we have those sources available. Please communicate with us on injuries. Transportation policy stays the same. Our coaches have the authority to require that your son or daughter ride to and away games on our school transportation, unless there's some medical or documented reason why they can't. This has obviously been amended a little bit for fall sport athletes. We have allowed in some of our fall sports for parents to take athletes back and forth for logical reasons. We just don't have a whole lot of room on the bus for with the restrictions. We're trying to keep kids. We're actually required on athletic or extracurricular activity buses to keep social distancing in case something would happen on that bus in after hours type things. During the school day, if we get back into school, it's not the same rules for lots of reasons, but one being we still have a bus fleet and drivers available should something happen, we can get them off. In extracurricular activities, not necessarily the case. If they get stranded or something, they still want the kids to be able to social distance on the bus. So here's the regulations here. We just need a consent form signed. If a coach does allow athletes to ride home, we need permission. We need written permission for all those things, and we typically need administrator approval as well. The athletic fee will remain the same for athletics. It's $55 per sport. The maximum for an individual is $110. The maximum for a family is $220. I hate the fact that we have to charge an athletic fee, but it's just a matter. The matter of fact is we're by far the cheapest athletic fee in the area. I mean, there are schools in our own conference that are $200 per sport, no limit for the family. So you can imagine how that can add up pretty quickly. We've kept it. It's been $55 for a long time. It was only $50 for several years before that. So we've been able to maintain the 55, and we don't want to raise it. So we appreciate the support with the athletic fee. We do keep it to a minimum, but it also does help defray some of the costs of running an athletic program, which is not cheap. So we appreciate that, and that is what our athletic fee will remain, $55. What are the forms that you need? Well, they haven't changed, like I said. These are all the forms that will be available to you on your registration when you do go onto our website and register through that site. Physicals are good for 13 months. The one thing that needs to actually physically be turned into us at the high school is the physical. There's a couple ways to do that. One is you can scan it and email it to myself, to your coach, or to Sue Sachs in the athletic office. And Sue's email, and you can write this down, or you can look it up on the website. Her email is Sachs, SAXS, at msd19.org. So it's Sachs and S for her first name at msd19.org. You can send those to us. We will forward them where they need to go. Or if you feel more comfortable dropping it off in the main office, you can drop it off between 8 and 3:30 any regular school day that you wish. We do need to get those on file. They are good for 13 months. So if you did get one last August, it's still good right now until September, but they do expire quickly, and that does creep up. But we do need one of those for every student athlete. That's the only piece of paper that we need to turn in that's not able to sign. You're not able to sign for online. All of these others, you will be walked through on our website, and you will e-sign all of those things. Again, all of these same things you did last year. The registration will not be complete unless all the forms are signed, and I believe it tells you pretty clearly that you're not finished if you haven't. One thing that I do want to bring up is one thing in the code of conduct that is, I just don't want there to be any surprises. We do randomly drug test our student athletes. It's fairly new. The cost is covered. And I will tell you a little bit about our drug testing. It's completely random. It's ran on a numbers system. If your kids are going to play in our athletic program, they have to be susceptible to random drug testing. You sign that in there. We just won't have it any other way. And I've had conversations with parents that don't necessarily want their son or daughter drug tested. Again, it's a privilege to play sports here. We hold our kids to a high standard, and we can't test everybody, so we do the best we can on a random basis. Son or daughter tests positive at any time, there is a penalty in place. It's explained clearly in the code of conduct. And after that, we do reserve the right to test that student athlete as much as we want until they graduate. So just read that fine print, understand what you're signing. Please read those regulations. Again, not a threat, just reality. And this is not uncommon in the area. There's several schools doing this. There's a lot that aren't, but we feel like it's in our best interest to maintain some type of integrity in our programs. Is that we will randomly drug test between 3 and 4 times per year. What can you expect out of our coaches? This is a topic that obviously becomes a hot topic at times. What can you expect? Well, we meet with our coaches, and I'll tell you what we expect out of them. We expect you to give them a clear philosophy. Our athletic program has a philosophy. All of our coaches are expected to have a philosophy. They should be able to explain that to you. Positive motivation, constructive criticism, expectations, local times of practices, contests, discipline procedures, how they govern their programs. And then we expect them to be fair and communicate. That's what we expect. Our coaches aren't perfect either. They're human beings. They're also not perfect in other ways. Coaching is a challenge. It's hard. It's a job. We have high expectations for our coaches. We also understand that you may not always agree with the things they do. That's life, okay? But that doesn't always mean that they're doing something wrong because a parent disagrees. So we will give you an opportunity if you don't necessarily agree with how we're doing things, but this is how we expect parents to go about it. If you have concerns, express them to the coach first. I don't, the emails about our coach doing things wrong to me, I will always tell you to go have a conversation with the coach first, unless it's something that's completely unethical or against the law that we need to know about. You're not going to have that problem with our coaches if I know anything about the staff we have. Go through the channels, go through the coaches first, and then me. I'll tell you another thing that really just carries no relevance: anonymous letters. We get anonymous letters from time to time, more frequently than I'd like, actually. If you want to write me a letter, put your name on it. That's all I'm going to tell you. Because if you don't, they go right in the trash, and I don't ever read them again. And to be honest with you, anonymous letters basically tells me that somebody is telling me something that they truly don't believe, or they would have put their name on it. So that's how we feel. Anonymous letters, straight in the trash. We don't necessarily address those, and I hate that I have to address that, but I continue to get people that want to do that and act like that's a method that we should respond to, and in a positive way. I don't think there's a more negative way to respond to something than sending a negative rant-filled anonymous letter. Okay, so enough of that. Notification of any schedule conflicts in advance is something that we expect parents to give our coaches. Let us know if there's a conflict. Coaches have attendance policies. They expect kids to be there. This is high school sports. This is not Little League sports. This is not club sports. All right? We hold a certain value to school sports. It is a part of the curriculum process here in an extracurricular way. And yes, it's a privilege. I'm not trying to confuse the two. But when you engage in that privilege, we expect you to hold it in high regard and hold it with the same integrity you hold your curriculum in school. Support in all related activities. We want you to support our programs. We want you to support our kids and all kids, not just our own, all kids, all coaching staffs, the entire program. We expect good sportsmanship. If we're at a game, at a football game, or at a basketball game, or at a golf match, or at a tennis match, or at a track meet, and I go to one and I hear the same 3 people every single game, or 4 people criticizing officials and criticizing coaches and criticizing even players, we'll get you out of there. It's just not a good atmosphere. It's embarrassing, quite frankly. Whether we're on the road, whether we're home, we have jurisdiction on the road and here to remove you from contests. We just don't want to be embarrassed. And frankly, it's embarrassing when our fans are the show in the gym and our kids aren't. So please keep that in mind when going to away events, when going to events here in Mascoutah. We want to be the standard. That's the expectation I have as an athletic director. It's the expectation that our school board has as a district. It's the expectation that our community should have. And so hopefully you can fit in that mold. And again, if you have a problem, we'll address problems, but we just want to be sportsmanlike at events. Understand there's always 2 sides to every story. And there's a lot of truth to, there's the A side, the B side, and the truth typically somewhere in the middle. Let our coaches coach. They're the ones I've always found it fascinating that we have coaches that spend sometimes the upwards of 13 or 14 hours a week or more watching video, preparing a game plan, analyzing kids' strengths and weaknesses. And we have somebody or a few people that haven't prepared 1 ounce for an opponent and want to tell our coaches how to attack that opponent. I just never understood that. And that's just a philosophical difference if people think that's what we should be doing. But our coaches put in a lot of time. They're required to put in the time. They're required to be prepared. I make sure they're prepared, make sure that they're putting in the time. And if you have a problem with that, talk to me, because it's my fault if our coaches aren't preparing well enough. And I'll hold them to that standard, and you can hold me to that standard. That's fine with me. And then lastly, make sure we're picking our kids up on time. Our coaches put a lot of time in, and it's not for a lot of money. I can tell you that. It's pennies on the dollar per hour when you add it all up throughout the year. Please, please, please pick your kids up on time. I feel so bad for coaches that, have kids at home and practice gets over at 5:30 and they tell me in the morning they were here till 6:45 waiting for a kid or two. Please, when games get over, have your kids text you on the way home so that you know when you need to be there, and help us through that. It's a challenge enough to balance life, coaching, and all those things. And we know that we know what we sign up for, but just help us out in that aspect, if you will. Parent meetings. Parent meetings, obviously, never fun. We don't love parent meetings because it typically means the parent's not happy about what's going on. I'm also realistic and understand that we don't always agree with what is going on, and you have a right to be heard in some aspects. Totally agree. Okay with that. The issue is we got to go through the right channels. Okay, first of all, there's 24-hour rule. All right, I don't want any coach being called ever on their personal phones. I don't want to be contacted in email or asked for a meeting until we've waited 24 hours, cooler heads have prevailed, and then we can address the problem. Also, I want you to talk to the coach first through email or a phone call the right way about the issue. And if you don't get the results that you want, an appointment can be made through my office. There's no walk-in parent meetings. We don't have any walk-in. You're not going to come into our office and say, I want to talk to the athletic director right now about something that happened at a game this week. You will not be granted that meeting. It's not me being stubborn or anything, but I know better, and I know how these things go. And it's fair to both parties that we understand a little bit ahead of time what the issue is, so that we can have a constructive conversation, because that's the only way that we'll solve an issue. Lastly, the student athlete in question must be present in any meeting about anything they're doing in their sport. It's just not fair to have a coach's word versus a parent's word when the person that has all the truth and has been back and forth in that circle is the student athlete. The meeting's about them. They're going to be there while we're talking about them so they can participate in that constructive, like I said, conversation. That's just how it's going to be. Our meetings will stay respectful and professional. We've ended them before. We'll end them if we have to early. Cooler heads must prevail. We have to get through things as adults. And sometimes it ends up in us parting ways from our athletic program and our student athlete and parents. Hardly ever. We don't want that to be the case. Again, we want to provide opportunities for our athletes in a fun environment that's a great learning environment as well. But we have to make sure that we stay respectful and professional. We won't always agree, but we can always agree to at least respect each other. Scholarships. I like to talk about scholarships because sometimes there's a little bit of a misconception. There's a misconception. Some people say nobody ever gets scholarships, or lots of kids get. The truth is, kids get scholarships. There's scholarships money available. There always is. We have lots of kids. If you look at our board, we've got 43 kids right now playing college sports at the next level, all levels, Division 1A, Division 1 AA. We got kids playing Division 2, Division 3, NAI. We have kids in all levels. We have over 40 kids, almost 50 kids playing college sports at some capacity, at some level. The fact is that less than 2% of high school athletes actually earn an athletic scholarship. So we've got to keep that in perspective, okay? The average scholarship amount for a college athlete is less than $11,000 a year, all right? You take out Division I athletes because their scholarship amounts tend to be the highest. That average amount drops to just under $5,000. In comparison to what school costs, an average public education is about 25 grand a year, private 50. Okay, so you can see that regardless of what kind of scholarships people get, almost everybody pays something for college. Okay, Division 1A offers full scholarships in certain sports, but many sports in Division 1 on down, it's partial, it's a percentage, it's books, it's maybe room and board, lots of ways to slice it, okay? But regardless, if you're an athlete that has a chance to earn any money, and here's the fact, if somebody gets $2,000 to go play a sport in college, that's great. That's fantastic. Any money to help defray the cost is worth it, as long as they want to participate. But for any of this to take place, you've got to get registered early. I would say by your sophomore year, early junior year, you're exploring the eligibilitycenter.org. You're getting cleared by the clearinghouse. Clearinghouse will certify you for Division 1 and 2. And then there's other certification for the NIAA and others. So you have to go through those two organizations. You need to get certified. Eligibilitycenter.org will take you through all those steps. Do it early. They'll walk you through what classes actually count towards eligibility. Our counselors also will help walk you through that process. Okay. Lastly, schools love to combine athletic scholarship money with academic scholarship money. If you have high academics, especially out of a school like Mascoutah that's held to a pretty high standard and is recognized in many schools as a school that has great rigor, and a high GPA out of Mascoutah actually means something. They like to compare that, or they like to use that and tag it along with some athletic money, and they can spend athletic money on other kids. So that'll get you the most money. Grades, don't fall behind your freshman year. It will, if you fall behind your freshman year, it could cost you long term. Let's talk about our athletic, switch gears here. Let's talk about our athletic department philosophy. Okay. The philosophy of our athletic department is energy, attitude, and toughness. You've probably heard us say, let's eat. You've probably got sick of hearing us say, let's eat. Here's the thing. We believe in it. We live by it. My kids at home get sick of me, sick and tired of me saying, let's eat, I'm sure. And I'm not talking about dinner. Energy, attitude, and toughness are what we hang our hat on here. And we've adopted this over a couple years. It didn't happen overnight, okay? And what does it mean? Well, I mean, you can read here what all these three things mean, but we'll talk about how we instill them in our programs. Energy, it's about how we use our energy regardless of circumstances that control us. You know, a lot of times we let our circumstances control our behavior and our energy level. You know, it can be used to benefit our lives. It shouldn't be used to create excuses or negativity. And we believe that positive energy motivates those around us, while negative energy deflates the entire process. You know, positive energy hides some minor flaws. Negative energy exposes everybody's flaws. Everybody wants to talk about negative people and what they do wrong. Positive energy buys more time and actually creates success when you least expect it. Attitude. You know, our attitude defines us. I tell a lot of people, your attitude basically introduces you before you ever talk. It's got the ability to affect positive change, creates an environment other people want to be in, want to be a part of. If you're willing to find something wrong with other people, you're a better problem than you'll ever be a solution. Attitude is a choice, and we want our kids choosing wisely, and our coaches choosing wisely. It's as important as our coaches have a positive attitude as it is our kids and our parents. And then toughness. And a lot of times when we talk about toughness, the first thing people think about is fighting and physical nature toughness. And you know, he could take, you know, more physical harm and be a tough guy, or tough. She can be a tough female because she gets up when she gets knocked down. Look, that's all important. But when we talk about toughness here, we're not just talking about physical strength. We're talking about mental toughness. We're talking about toughness that keeps your body language above everyone else's. You know, having a rough day. What's your body tell about you? Is your body language tougher than maybe what you're feeling inside? And that's what we talk to our kids about. Your body language, it equates to what your will is. You know, and if you're a tough individual, your will can't be broken. And that's what we talk to our kids about. So, yes, I can talk about all three of these things and what they mean to people. Let me tell you how we're going to instill this in our programs. We've adopted what we call Eat Weeks, okay? And we're injecting the energy, attitude, and toughness principles into our programs every single day. When our kids leave our athletic program, we want them to bring the EAT principles with them wherever they go, whether it's the workforce, whether somebody's going to be a plumber, or somebody's going to be a painter or an auto mechanic, or somebody's going to go to a four-year university at Harvard, or somebody's going to go play Division I sports. These are the principles we want to instill in them as they leave here. I think it's important that when somebody leaves a school, they take things, or leaves a group, that if they can't take something away from that group, you haven't done them any good. So they're going to take this away from us. What are EAT weeks? Every single week is going to be labeled an EAT week, okay? And it's going to alternate between our three principles. This week, for example, is our first week. This week is an energy week. If you walk around our golf course, you walk around our tennis courts for practice, and they're not quite done yet, but they're practicing other places, or you go to our cross-country practices and meets, our coaches will be talking about energy more than they talk about any other principle this week. They're instilling energy this week. When something's going bad, they're talking about how better energy can make these kids better in this situation, in this time, in this circumstance, okay? Next week, it'll be attitude. Our entire week, our athletic program will focus on attitude. We're even going to filter this into the classroom some and see if we can't use some of this into our classroom, and our athletes are filtering this into our classes every day. Attitude. Our coaches are going to start checking kids on attitude during the week next week. Why is our attitude poor? Your attitude's not getting you through this. Your attitude is helping you get through this. Using attitude to define situations every day of practice. And then third week, 2 weeks from now, will be a toughness week. And our coaches will hang their hat on toughness that week. They'll give examples of toughness. They're going to give examples of the kids in practice that are showing toughness, mental toughness, body language toughness. Hey, this kid is showing great body language toughness. He's had a tough day. These aren't his best times on our course, but he's mentally tough. He's showing body language toughness, and he's an example to everybody else. We're going to talk about toughness all week long. And then the fourth week, every single month, will be our coaches' philosophy that they're adding something they believe in. So our coaches will have to develop whatever their program philosophy is. They're going to use that, and that's going to be their weekly theme. So if you come to a game or you come to a practice, which our practices are closed to the public, but if you were to be at one, you better be hearing these terms used by our coaches. In turn, you better be hearing them at home with your student athletes. They better hear the word energy this week at their practice. Next week, they better hear the word attitude a lot. They better hear the word toughness a lot in 2 weeks. And then whatever their coaches are trying to instill in them. So we're not just talking about these things, folks. We're instilling them in our student athletes. A lot of people tweet stuff and, they're going to grind and, we're going to, we're about that life and all these other things. We're about this. And this is what we do. And this is what we believe in. And our coaches need to believe in it or they won't coach here. So I know they all do. This is how we're going to go about our business. This is how we're going to keep getting better. This is what's going to set us apart from other people. And that's why we do this. It's not for show. All right. It's to create winners on the field, in their life, in their relationships at home, and everything else that they're trying to do. Challenge your kid every week. Ask your kid what week it is. If it's an attitude week, talk to them about their attitude at home. Help us, and we'll help you the same way at practice. Any way you can adapt any of this, you want information on this stuff, please feel free to reach out. Switching gears a little bit more. One of the initiatives that we've taken on this year as an athletic program, in the climate that we're in our country and in our world, frankly, I felt like we needed to do something. And I've talked to a group in our school, No Place for Hate, who's ran by some great teachers in our district, who has a group of students that are committed to changing the way we live and the way that our world works right now. We decided to buy completely in as an athletic program. I don't know how popular this is with you in your own homes, and I can't speak for everybody. This is a non-political, non-biased, anti-hate, anti-homophobic, anti-racist, like I said, hate platform for our friends and our community so that we can come together in our athletic program and have a purpose beyond what we're doing. This is a logo that we created, this Unity logo. You see it behind me. You see it on the screen. It's going to be on our helmets on Friday nights. It's going to be on our shoes this fall. It's going to be on some of our workouts. It's going to be on our coaches' polos. And pretty soon it's going to be available to you to buy signs to hang in your windows at home and to put signs in your yard. And if you own a business, to put one in your window. And the reason we're doing this is because I want this to become the standard community in our area, in our state. And I don't believe you can change anything at all on a global basis unless you change it here first. So we're going to lead this initiative. We're really fortunate and I'm excited. We have several schools throughout the state. I sent this to athletic directors throughout the state who have adopted our logo, which is awesome to see. I'm thankful for them and I'm very humbled by it. But you will see this logo on football helmets throughout the state. Schools in our league have taken us up on it. Schools down south, as far as Carbondale, have agreed. Schools up north have bought in. There's schools in the Southwest Conference joining us. We are going to embody change. We're going to unify our community, people of all colors, of all ethnic backgrounds, of all genders, of anything they believe in and are passionate about. It's our time as an athletic program to listen and to understand, not to criticize, okay, and think we understand how everybody should think. And that's our stance. And like I said, I understand people don't love this conversation because it's hard and it's tough. But if we can't have difficult conversations, we can't change difficult things. So this is our platform. You're going to see this a lot. I ask you to join us. I ask you to join with us to promote this, to take a maybe uncomfortable step in wearing this logo on something that you may do. Promote it in your Little League programs. Promote it at work. Bring it to your work across the river and show people that we're trying to unify people because we've had issues in our town and in our state, in our area that bring people down. The way we fix that is we highlight it by all of the ways we can bring people together. That's all this is. So join us. I don't want to waste your whole night talking about unity. This is only the beginning of what you're going to hear about this, but we hope that you can buy in with us. Our athletes certainly, I know some are really excited about this. It will create topics every week for us to talk about. Uncomfortable conversations in our athletic program are going to happen, and I foresee great change with our group No Place for Hate in our school, our leaders from our athletic programs, our leaders from our building coming together and joining a force that can really make some noise in our state and in our country frequently, quite frankly, and I hope that's the case. Sorry. All right, one last thing that we're going to do this year with our student athletes is develop a leadership council. And this is going to embody every one of our athletic programs. It's going to be broken up into groups of individuals that are chosen by our teams to lead them. We're going to meet once a month. We're going to go over these unity principles we just talked about, but much deeper than that. Much deeper. We've got guest speakers that Mr. Woodrum and I are trying to bring on campus to talk about mental health. We think mental health is important. We don't think enough people are talking about mental health. We're going to get mental health as a platform in our programs. Make sure we're paying attention to those things. We're going to talk about the way that we treat people of the opposite sex and those types of things, and put kids in situations where they need to respond to tough questions and bring these back to their programs and truly be leaders in their programs. It's new. This is a grassroots effort to start a council that basically will take on a captain's-like role for a whole athletic program, and they kind of help us police their programs. They will help govern their programs. We may talk about issues we're having in programs and how we can fix them by things we've done in others. So just something you may hear about, the Leadership Council. Some people will be disappointed they're not on it. It's not for everybody. We cannot have everybody on it, but it's an opportunity for kids to lead. And we're going to put kids in leadership roles. Hopefully it filters down and it creates a positive change and creates new leaders that lead by example. And it can be people of inspiration in our town and in our school community, on base and Belleville. We have so many people in this great community and that are a part of it. And hopefully we can, it filtrates out into all those places. One last thing I want to advertise, the first ever fundraising golf event for our athletic program will be held on October 3rd. We only have a room for 33 threesomes, and it is filling up fast. We're about half full already. So if you're interested in getting a threesome in this tournament, please go to our website and register. There's a link on our website, www.msd19athletics.com. It's one of the first things you'll see. There's also a sponsor form under links and forms where you can sponsor this great event, be a whole sponsor, and there's other opportunities to sponsor as well. If it's something you'd like to get involved with, we'd love to have you. This is going to be a great event. Showcase, be some student athletes out there helping with some of it, but mostly our coaching staffs. A great opportunity to meet our coaching staff. They'll be very visible that day. There'll be, we're going to have a team store there on site where you can buy some cool things. Just a neat day, I hope, where we can come together for Indian athletics and kind of, get the juices flowing again as we are into another fall and another school year. So please join us if you can. Like I said, it is filling up fast. You register online for that. It's credit card. You register your whole team, and it's self-explanatory. So please feel free to check that out. Follow us. I mentioned earlier that Twitter is very important for us to follow. All of our daily updates are on Twitter. This will become more and more popular. It's the easiest way for us to push out information. There's our Twitter handle right there, MHS19_athletics. Now, I will tell you this, our website, the main page of our website also is linked to our Twitter. So if you go to our website, the msd19athletics.com, our Twitter page is scrolling on the front page. So either one of those is a good source. If you don't have a Twitter account, I do encourage you to get Twitter. It's a great source of information, and it's up to date, and it's great to keep up with. We tweet. Our golf team got off to a great start today, winning the Hickory Stick Invitational. I know Colin Walscott won the event today, was the medalist, and our team were the champions of that event, so they're off to a great start as expected. Fun things going to happen this fall with cross country. Tennis is greatly improved. I'm excited to watch those girls. Golf, men's and women's golf, both off to a great start. So, we're getting there, and hopefully we can maintain it. So thanks for following us, and hopefully you can link up there and keep track of Indian athletics. Here's my contact info. There's my email address. Feel free to reach out to me whenever you can. If you got a question, like I gave you Mrs. Sachs, her email earlier. Once again, hers is Sachs, SAXS at msd19.org. Should be glad to answer any questions as well. That's it for tonight. I appreciate you tuning in. I really do. I hope we have a great year. I'll keep you posted on any changing news, updates, COVID-related things that are going on in our athletic program. Like I said, let's come together. Let's use unity as a foundation in our community. I hope you believe in our athletic program. We certainly believe in our kids, and we want to continue to grow. We're not perfect at all. We make mistakes, but we're constantly trying to learn and get better here on our end, and we'll keep doing that. Our coaches are so excited about the year. I couldn't be happier with the staff that we've been able to bring in. Our coaching staff, I'll put them up against any coaching staff, top to bottom, in the state. It's an incredible staff with incredible people. That I'd be fortunate for my kids to play in any of these athletic programs that we have. So I mean that, and I hope you feel the same way. So thank you. Have a great evening, and looking forward to getting started. Have a great night, everybody.